Hey everyone, so in this clip we're going to be talking about how to find the trigonometric identity of cotangent squared of an angle plus 1 equals cosecant squared of an angle. So how are we going to do this? Well, the process is pretty much the same as the other identities. We're going to construct an arbitrary triangle once again with base x, height y, and hypotenuse r with an angle. So write out what we know: x squared plus y squared equals r squared by the Pythagorean theorem. And okay, so now the trick for this one is we're going to take our equation and multiply the whole thing by 1 over y squared. So now this is going to give us x squared over y squared plus 1 equals r squared over y squared. So let's take the square on the outside now of both of these pieces. And so now we're just gonna figure out how we can take these ratios that you might not be able to remember so easily because these are the lesser known ones, and let's use our trigonometric reciprocal identities to be able to figure out what they are without necessarily having to remember them, although you should try to do that as well. But if you can understand where it comes from, you're going to be able to figure it out. So let's take our x over y, and we can recognize that that can be written as 1 over y over x equals 1 over the opposite over adjacent equals 1 over the tangent of the angle, which, if you know your reciprocal identities, then you'll be able to recognize that 1 over tangent of an angle equals cotangent of the angle. Also worth noting here that this also implies, because this might be important to know too, that tangent of the angle times cotangent of the angle equals 1. So that might be important to know. And now what about our r over y piece? We're going to be able to write that as 1 divided by y over r equals 1 over opposite over our hypotenuse equals 1 over the sine of our angle. And if we once again know our different reciprocal identities, then we know that 1 over sine of our angle equals cosecant of our angle. And this also leads to the implication that sine of the angle times cosecant of the angle equals 1. Now you might say, well, how do I know what goes with which part here? It's worth trying to know that if you're taking the tangent and cotangent, those are reciprocals of each other. If you take sine and cosecant, those are reciprocals of each other. Also, cosine and secant are reciprocals of each other. So basically, the way that I like to remember it is that the S's go with the C's. Okay, so as long as you can remember this, then you should be able to put together the pieces. So now that we have come to this conclusion, let's go ahead and plug this in. So this means that we're going to have cotangent of the angle squared plus 1 equals cosecant of our angle squared. But also you should know, because this is very important and will come up, that cotangent of the angle squared equals cotangent squared of an angle. Once again, it's mathematical convention that we write this to represent the same calculation. Same can be said for cosecant of the angle squared equals the cosecant squared of the angle. And so let's go ahead and write this in here. So cotangent squared of the angle plus 1 equals cosecant squared of our angle. And that's how we get to this. And also another important note, you might be asked to have one of these in terms of the other. So let's go ahead and figure out what that is real quick since we're doing this. So cotangent squared of the angle equals cosecant squared of the angle minus 1. And we can square root both sides here to come up with cotangent of the angle absolute value equals the square root of cosecant squared of the angle minus 1. And now cosecant squared of the angle, it's already done for you there, equals cotangent squared of the angle plus 1. So now if we square root both of these, you're going to come up with cosecant of the angle absolute value equals the square root of cotangent squared of the angle plus 1. So yeah, that's where this one comes from. I would say out of these three main trigonometric identities that I've done videos on, this is probably the least common that you're going to come across. Not to say it still couldn't be on a test or on your homework, but probably you won't see this one too often. But in case you do, there you go. You know what to do now, and hopefully you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next one where Joe shows you how.